What's up, witches? Oh, I could feel the stop. I like hit a brick wall. Wow. What's up, witches? I'm Luna. Welcome to my channel. Welcome if you're a new viewer. Welcome if you've been here a while. Most especially, welcome to my patrons whose donations made this unboxing possible this month. They allow me to get a couple, get pricier decks every month because, they're pricey. Anyway, this is a brand new deck. This is the Beloved Dead, an Oracle for Divining Ancestral Wisdom by Carrie Paris and Tina Hart. And I have to say, I'm a little confused when, you look on Amazon or you look on even the publishers' sites and they show the release dates for their decks. I am finding that they are widely available before that release date. I was in Books A Million on like the 24th, the 26th of August. The release date on this officially is September 4th. And they had this deck. I waited though, so my patrons could buy it for me, because it is a little bit on the pricier end. Let me see if they have the price listed here. They $35 in the US. So here we go. This is a snappy box, as I call them. I'm sure there's probably a better name. An Oracle for Divining. This is Wiser Books and Lunar Nomad, and a book that I have called The Book of Everyday Oracles, and there's one more, probably this one, are the only Wiser publications that I have. A hauntingly appealing divination deck, your collective family of ancestor archetypes, awaits you in the Beloved Dead Oracle. They will have a lot to say about your day-to-day interactions, interpersonal dynamics, and inner life. Ask the Beloved Dead a question and connect with consciousness that has left the land of form and now resides energetically as spirit. Every spirit in this deck is a bright star in the constellation that lights your soul's enchanted path to the unlimited potential that is the future. These are the voices of your protective and guiding ancestors, spirit helpers who understand that there's great work to be done every minute you spend on this side of the veil. This deluxe set contains an 82-card deck and a 144-page full-color guidebook. I have deplasticed this, but I haven't looked. So we just have the same. It's like this crackle painting, old antique looking. We've got a ribbon pull. Let's take a look at the book. It does say on the back, this guidebook is part of the Beloved Dead deck package and is not to be sold separately. So, of course, the copyright is 2023. The contents page we have, wait a second. There we go. Welcome to the Beloved Dead. What's in the box? How to begin. Attuning with the Beloved Dead. Then we have, like big sections. The Act of Love cards. The cards, the Act of Love spread. Then we have the Beloved Dead cards. The cards and Ouija. So there's two like sets, the Beloved Dead Oracle spreads. We have a general 3-card spread, the evidential spread, the Beloved Dead spread, the Pillar of Personal Power. Wow. And the first page says, why do I think, act, feel, and behave in a certain way? What's my most authentic choice? What's blocking my way? Am I using this gift of life well? Who am I? Why am I here? Welcome to the Beloved Dead. For those who have asked even one of these eternal self questions, welcome to the Beloved Dead. I was asking those questions when I was 6 years old. A deck for both you and your spirited ancestors whose stories, wisdom, and experiences still seek expression. The Beloved Dead is a deck that enchants with the heady patina of long ago. Lift these cards from their box and you'll feel that just-discovered excitement of finding a dog-eared photo album nestled in the cobwebs of an attic. Who are these animated spirits? What have they learned? What can I learn from them? What are they trying to say? Okay, I'm sorry I'm getting kind of snarky. There's kind of that salesmanship-y thing that, I don't know, sorry. Now, They'll have plenty to say. Years ago, on a blustery New Year's Day, as the story goes, Carrie Paris discovered an old image of 3 unknown ancestors in a box of family photos. They were visibly impoverished, an elderly woman and man, gentle and kindly, the man's hand tenderly perched on the shoulder of a very young shoeless boy who was holding a herding branch. The woman's hand covers her bloated stomach, ostensibly from hunger. With a bit of digging and fact-finding, Carrie unveiled some of the mystery, enough to confirm that yes, they were hungry, and that the undernourished boy, age 8 or 9, was orphaned and had been brought into the care of the elderly couple despite their dire situation. Yet, scry the dynamic within this photo, the warmth in the eyes, their bright auric fields, and you'll soon sense an energy that transcends not only the process of picture-taking, but also time and space. Kindness, grace, selflessness, and an enduring philosophy of love is all you need. In this moment, Paris began pacing around the room, barely able to contain the inspiration. She knew intrinsically, right down to the soul level, that there was a great healing potential in divining the enlightened counsel of our beloved dead, the immortal dead, the choir invisible. Out of this moment, both the relative tarot, okay, I am aware of that deck, and the beloved dead cards were born. 2 decks comprised of antique photographs that can be used for traditional divination and guidance, but also as a powerful tool for ancestral communication. It's been said that when a querent sits in front of a diviner, there are at least 15 people in that chair. There's an energetic imprint of the parents, 2 sets of grandparents, 4 sets of great-grandparents. That's a whole lot of backstory, millions down the line. And when we listen, we will hear them still informing our existing narratives. But how is that happening, and to what extent? Who better to fill in the missing pieces of our ever-evolving personal puzzles? Who better to share the triumph of the human condition? Enter our beloved dead. The beloved dead was designed as a standalone deck to be used for divination, but we also encourage you to combine it and layer it with the relative tarot. I will be checking that out. The beloved dead allows you to journey far and journal deeply. In isolated moments of confusion or in times of conflict or uncertainty, it can be used for quick pulls, daily guidance, and reliable answers for practical questions. And yet our beloved dead aspire to more. We'll introduce you to therapeutic and insightful spreads with great transformative potential. These spreads can be found starting on page 115. What's in the box? 81 cards, 1 Spirit Throne card, 10 Active Love cards, 69 Beloved Dead cards, and 1 Ouija card. We view this last card as the deck's wild card, and so it comes without interpretation. When the Ouija card appears in a reading, take it as a sign that a spirit is lingering just outside the cards in your reading, or perhaps that another question needs to be asked. Let's break these down. The Spirit Throne, think of it as a special staging card. The Majestic Spirit Throne. It isn't one of the family oracle cards. It's unique and has its own purpose. It's meant to be used as a seat of honor, a sacred space within which to hold counsel. You can use the Spirit Throne card to call upon your ancestors, to invite them for conversation, to connect with a particular spirit, and as a beginning or ending card to open and close ritual work. I'm sure you can come up with something, though, that it's going to signify when it shows up in the reading. Like maybe that card puts you in the spotlight, not your ancestors. It really focuses on you and where you're sitting right now, something like that. Active Love cards. These 10 cards are your Special Forces team. They are the oracles of acts of love. These cards represent energetic transactions and choices that once made become your alchemy, turning baser instincts into gold. They can represent an individual, an energetic imprint, or an ancestor. They have the potential to release pain and shift unconscious drivers that throw you out of alignment. If you receive one or a few of these cards in your reading, you're being asked to augment and finish your work by committing to a high vibrational act of love. This particular 10-member choir of beloved dead brings in these acts to help stimulate the process of growth and healing for you. Once you flip over a card and it's an act of love, it also acts as an additional layer of meaning. In other words, when you pull another beloved dead oracle card, lay it on top of the act of love. Pay attention to the position in which it's landed. Make special note of which other beloved dead have summoned this card for you. We'll talk more about this in the spreads section of the book. Okay, it represents a charged area that wants extra consideration. Okay, beloved dead cards are our esteemed family of radiant souls. They will have a lot to say about your day-to-day interactions, personal dynamics, and experience of life. Each card will feature a character in a scene. The card's representative of the message from that scene. Ask a question, connect with the card's energy, receive its celestial perspective. Okay. How to begin attuning with the beloved dead. Okay, there are times when you have a new deck and it feels like the cards are throwing blanks of pure off-topic prattle. In other words, you have no idea what they're telling you because you aren't picking up a clean, comprehensive narrative. This can happen for many reasons, but the top two are usually you are not grounded or focused. Yes, absolutely. Or two, you and the cards, these ancestors, haven't warmed up to each other yet. What can you do? So this is a big section. Here's a fun way to imprint with your cards. Make it a date. Say hello and get acquainted. Before you work with a beloved dead, ask the deck to kindly introduce themselves to you. Pick one card randomly. It may be a representative spirit who might want to reveal something special about the voice, personality, or creative imprint of your deck. I like that she uses the word imprint a lot. Could be introducing an important theme that will take on added significance as you work together. So start with the spirit throne. Connecting and affirming, calling all angels. Then we have an opening and a closing that you can use until you develop your own personal rituals. The opening is, we do this every time, right? I call upon my sacred guides to come protect and speak henceforth. I seek your wisdom. Please grant me this audience. So mote it be. The closing, fare thee well till next we meet. I thank you all respectfully. Love is the law is light. This work is blessed. This work is closed. Take blessed flight. So we just say, allies and ancestors, guides and guardians. We tell them welcome, and I do the thing, that I do in live streams that I didn't do this past time is forget to close down and say thank you at the end. So I'm working on it. Then we just have the cards, the active love cards, the beloved dead cards. There are the spreads. Ooh, I like the way they do the spreads. Big spreads. Let's take a look here. Wow. So that's a 12-card spread. The Pillar of Personal Power. Oh, that's examples. I think, what? This is all the same spread, I think. Yikes. Okay. But it said there was a bunch of spreads. Oh, yeah, there are. Okay. So, yeah, there's a bunch of spreads. Now, Carrie Paris is known for a lengthy list of achievements, as well as prolific creative and spiritual gifts in the fields of prognostication, mediumship, and creativity, reader, artist, designer, and creatrix, the relative tarot, and the siren song, Divining with Lenormand and Kipper. That's on my list. Tina Hart is a channeler of words, spirit, and ideas, and has used her writing skills to bring the imagery of Carrie Paris to life in book form. She's a ranked competitive pool player and journalist. That's amazing. Today, as a diviner, Tina works with cards, casting charms, and sits in mediumship circles. Wow. Here are the card backs, kind of a cloudy look. We have gilding. And it is a chunky deck. It's 80, what was it, 82 cards? What did they say? 82 cards, yes. So it's chunky. And they get even chunkier when we go to gilding. But it doesn't seem like, it does seem like they're going to be shuffleable. They bend. And they kind of stay bent. Look. Yikes. Hey, Wiser, check your card stock. All right. So here we have the Spirit Throne. And it's an old-looking chair with smoky wispies. And the active love cards say active love on them. This says as is. Be you. Do nothing. Look at these wings. So we've got these, old antique photographs, obviously. Very interesting old photographs. The backgrounds are just kind of cloudy. So she's set these figures in this background. You can see the haze kind of coming up over it. And look at the wings on this Chinese, Japanese woman. Forgiveness and faith and more wings. I love it. Because these are our beloved dead. These are beautiful. Here and now. Did I say what that one was? Forgiveness and faith. Yes, here and now. Objectivity. I love the variety of the wings. And I'd love to know where she found those images. Observation. Self-care. So we're not going to get a lot of, the way she talked about getting an active love card and putting a beloved dead, it seems like these aren't going to be like tarot where the imagery gives you something to trigger. Self-care, self-preservation. Okay, interesting. Those are two very different things. Self-care and self-preservation. Self-preservation is setting those boundaries and, making choices to to keep your life together. God, I can't talk today. While self-care is what you do, behind those boundaries. Self-preservation is getting out of dangerous situations and shitty and toxic situations. Active love, yes or no? Okay, so those are the end of the active love cards, and then we have the beloved dead cards, which don't have any label. So we just set those 10 active love kind of apart. Absence. Well, that's an interesting image. Look what she did. Holding this child's hand and took the father's face out. That's pretty stunning. Academic. Addiction. Wow. I'm going to go a little bit quicker because there's a lot of them. Ancestry. So in a deck of beloved dead, which is all about your ancestry, what would the ancestry card mean? To me, it means it's just a matter of focus, maybe really looking at the lines and the lineages themselves. And look at those transparent wings. Appearance. This one has like speckly wings. Arcana. Look at the bat. Wow. Attention. I want to know what arcana is in this context. There are two kinds of truth. The truth we keep to ourselves and the truth that we show others. Arcana is very tight-lipped. She has secrets, confidences, and mysteries that she'll happily take to her grave. When you receive this card, there's a story, facts, or information being kept under lock and key away from prying eyes and inquiring minds. Okay, so it's all about hidden knowledge. Attention. Backstory. Body. Isn't it interesting how the strong men back in the day were still a little bit doughy because it wasn't extreme. Bohemian. Change. I mean, there's certainly a humor in them. Chicken, look at this. Chicken. Is it cowardice? When chicken enters, it does so with trepidation, head down, focused on pecking pellets in the sand. At chicken's core is a powerlessness, helplessness, or inability to, or reluctance to step out of a comfort zone. Why? Because there's always the fear of the fox in the hen house. So, yes, this is when you're being a chicken. That's hilarious. Communication. Oh, I love the humor. Compass. That's, pretty abstract concept there. Competition. Conflict. Is he pointing a gun? Yes, he is. Conscientious. Creativity. Thank you for music. Defense. Wow. Disconnect. I wonder where she gets her photos. I mean, if you just haunt antique shops, you can find a million of them. Antique postcards. I bought an antique postcard once that was mailed. I can't remember when it was. It was like the early 1900s, I think. And it was a sister to her brother. And she said, "Well, Omar, I like the way you have of answering my letters. Try writing to us some of these days. Edna, your sister Edna." Hilarious. Throwing shade through the mail. Drama. I love that this deck, which could be, like a Samhain deck, and ooh, spooky, it's the dead, it's the beloved dead, and ghosts and spirits and everything. And she's coming here with humor. It's the best. Driver. Entertainment. And let's face it, a lot of antique photos like this are very humorous. People think they're being terribly serious, but they're just hard to take. Evermore. Oh, that's nice. Evermore rather than forever. I like that. Expectation. Look at that face. Explorer. And we do have diversity in this deck, by the way, if you haven't noticed. Grave. Look at this image like this. It almost looks like she's getting a phone call with a cell phone with bad news, Hardship. Oh. Haunted. The skull's floating in the air and he's looking up at one like, oh shit. Home. Hospitality. Important. Yes. It's going to be very interesting to see how these read. Innocent. Oh. Invisible. Is that, I think that's part of the photo, that this woman's got this thing over her head and face. Justice. Kindred. Oh. Labor. They're very to the point, not symbolic. When when you find something like that, labor, and there's a guy with a hammer and an anvil, very literal. Leadership. Look how beautiful. Look at this stately woman representing leadership. I love it. And I love that it's a woman of color. Limelight. Location. Some of these are nouns and some of them are adjectives. Love. Aw. Isn't that beautiful? Martyr. What's she? Oh, she's selling. This is like someone on the road to like Lourdes or Fatima or something, where they're selling little statues and souvenirs of the saint. I love it. Messenger. A paper boy. Who grew up when you had paper boys and milkmen? Optimism. Look how beautiful. Instead of the wings, it's like a sunflower. It's gorgeous. Oh, she does have wings, but she's still popping through this beautiful flower. Peace. Ah, the photos are extremely well chosen. She has chosen photos that have the face really illustrates the key word on the card. I am really struggling for words today, you guys. Perception. Looking through a frame. See, very literal, but really descriptive too. Perfection. Personality. Ah, evocative. You know, when you look at a card and it makes you laugh, play. Play, Privilege. Oh, yes. The Young Gentleman's Club. Promise. Just the looks, the faces are very well chosen. Prophecy. Purpose. Out to win the Crusades, I guess. Religion. Remember. Oh. I mean, look at the fact that we're looking at the back of her head, and then there's the baby looking back over her shoulder. That is a beautiful image for remember. Service. And that one was a verb. With a service dog. Shine. Look how beautiful. This one has color to it, or it looks like it has color to it. I could have sworn that dress was red. Snake. It's Crowley. Sovereign. Hello, good day to you, ma'am. That's Queen Victoria, if you didn't know. Survive. Wow. Teacher. Things. Time. Look at the spinning wheel, like the wheel of fortune, a clock, the passage of time. Tribe. Look at these women. You would be safe in that circle. Vanity. Visitation. Wholesome. Wise guy. Witch. Oop. And Ouija. Very, very interesting. And again, I'm just kind of going, how am I going to read these cards? Because they're not like archetypes or there's such a variety of terms and, you know, the kind of things they're talking about. Perception, privilege, purpose, all nouns, but then we get into this haunted, important, innocent, invisible. You know, there's just difference. It's a different deck. So I'm rather happy about that. Let's bless it. I have to admit, too, that today I am feeling rather dull. I had a, I don't know, a micro flare yesterday where I thought I was just, you know, they come on and I'm sure that I'm getting terribly ill, and then it goes away the next day. But it's not entirely away, so so I'm a bit slow today. By air and fire, may you be purified and charged. Thinking of my ancestors, I'm thinking of my wonderful guides. And by water and earth, may you be blessed and made whole. Let's get the book too, eh? And then, by the sound of the bell, may the spirit awaken within you. And guides and guardians, allies and ancestors, all of my beloved dead, I welcome you here to help me communicate with you and help you communicate with me. And I offer you fresh water. I offer you the fire of Azrael to bring the spirit of divination into this deck. So, I'm not going to do any of these giant 12 card spreads, but I do want to look at the first ones. General 3 card, main idea, the heart, and the therefore or outcome. I like that, the therefore. All right, and then they give sample readings. So that's handy. The evidential spread, who, and then validation, and then message. And a couple of different samples. Okay. Card went things, attention. All right, many sample readings here. So is that it for the beloved dead spread? Then we get into the 12 cards. So we only have a couple. We're just going to go, we're going to look at a sample first, quickly. Okay. Questions, the narrative approach, and investigative techniques. So they're talking about just how to approach and how to frame your question. A rapid series of 1 card to 3 card spreads or more cards are the best way to connect with and open a dialogue with spirit. All right, let's say you're on vacation in Scotland. The question is, what is the truth about who murdered your husband? So there's must be a haunted thing. First card is location. Very interesting. This conversation begins with a validation of the location, possibly Scotland. Next card is privilege. An entitled privileged man noticed the cane, used to getting his own way as every whim was enabled by his family and his wife. The last one is an act of self-care. So it's an act of love card. They become a template. And you put an additional card on top, and that's play. The card location suggests this woman was tied to a place. This location did not have the warm energy of home, which remains in the deck. And play definitely introduces a spirit of liberation. It suggests she can now be free to do what she wants. So, okay, well, we're just going to go freeform, you guys. And I was wondering if you were supposed to like take the active love cards out, but clearly from the very beginning, you're not. They stay in the deck. Oh. Because it is kind of a big deck, you gotta sort of, yeah, they don't bridge that well. But you have to sort of lift them up when you get to the end, or they bump heads with each other. I don't know how many times in this video so far I'm thinking, should I just stop and start again? Because I'm very not with it. All right. Oh, and there's that spirit throne. So we're going to put that in the middle here, or out. It's hard to hold this deck this way. You can, but it's thick. So probably better to do it this way. All right. So let's ask, just for a reading for the collective, since, can you do a general reading? I guess you can. All right. So to my beloved dead, I will just talk to my ancestors and my beloved dead and ask, what do I need to know? So the conflict card comes out. I think I'm going to split and pull, unless more fly out. We're going to do a 3 card. Okay. And what were the 3 card ones here? That was evidential, general 3 card, main idea, heart, and therefore. Okay. Sure. There's an act of love. So we're going to take another card on that. I think I split it in exactly the same place. And the therefore. Okay. So let's go intuitively first. The issue, what did they call it? Main idea, the heart, and the therefore, the heart of the matter. So let's look here. The heart of the matter is an active love card, and it says as is. So I think the heart of the matter is acceptance. And I don't remember, I don't remember if there is an actual acceptance card. Conflict compass, appearance, addiction, academic. Okay, so I see as is as just accepting it as is. You know, this is the way it is, not questioning, not wanting to change things or see something differently. So the heart of the matter is acceptance. The main issue is conflict. And then the therefore at the end is perception. And look at the other card we got on top of as is, innocence. It talks about really being able to accept the world as it is, at face value. This is like a core Buddhist teaching of being able to meet the world at face value. And if you think in terms of conflict, when you're in conflict with someone, or even just before you're in conflict with someone, you are bringing your interpretations to things. Someone does or says something, and you start interpreting. You know, maybe you have a reaction to what they said or how they said something, and then the story starts in your head. What did they mean? Well, I know what that was about. They were trying to blah, 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 blah. So rather than just taking whatever they said at face value, rather than reading into tone and body language, well, the words they said were this. Take those words at face value, even if there is an agenda behind them. If you take them at face value, you save yourself the suffering of that storyline of what's going on. So it's talking about conflict having a lot to do with whether you accept things, not accept things as they are, but accept that things are as they are. Do you get the difference? To accept something as it is has a little implication there of it's okay that it's that way, you know? So if you think of accepting something, you know, that's harmful or bad, that's not, you know, okay, I accept it, which means I okay it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you allow it to be what it is in the moment. And there's a certain amount of innocence that comes with that. Rather than bringing all your jaded experience and triggers from past conflicts to the situation, if you look at it with more innocent eyes, the eyes of a child, you can see and just take it at face value. It's such a peaceful choice. And then what does that do? Then it's all about perception. The way you choose to see things, the frame that you choose to see them through, can either create or dispel conflict, right? If you choose to see things as this person is my enemy, then there's going to be conflict all the time. If you choose to look at something from the other person's point of view, if you are mature enough to be able to do that, then there can be much more taking things at face value and not unloading all of your history and your, you know, your baggage on a situation. So damn, yeah, they read, I would say. So let's read the entries now. There are no additional like keywords. We just have paragraphs. When conflict storms into a reading, it brings energetic dissonance ranging from a tantrum to a tornado. This is a card with its own jarring soundtrack: shouting, shrieking, crashing, breaking, accusing, fighting, name-calling, derisive laughter, even weaponized silence. Ooh! Its core is tense, volatile, unstable, angry, protracted, sometimes unrepentant. It represents hatred and rage, battles and war, rivals, enemies, or blackened hearts, and perpetrators of violence or abuse. Alternatively, conflict can also represent an internal process. indicating an inability to arrive at a peaceful resolution of two opposing courses of thought, feeling, or action. This card also often asks, where are you experiencing a pattern of conflict in your life? Is the charged atmosphere of fighting familial and familiar? A comfort zone to which you've become accustomed? So, wow. So the charged atmosphere of fighting, if you grew up in a violent household, or, whether physically or just emotionally violent, verbally violent, tense, angry people, a lot of unresolved shame, and that feels normal to you, you can invite those situations in, even to the point of, if you have a partner that's not stroppy like that, you can actually pick fights because that's your comfort zone. You know what to do in those situations. So perhaps you've developed great skills in the area of conflict management and resolution. Unless this is your vocation, your affinity for calamity will attract friends and relations with never-ending turmoil. The beloved dead offer a word to the battle-weary. Say bye-bye to the cray-cray. It might be time to beat a retreat to peace and quiet. Okay. Then the second one was an act of love, and it was the very first card of the deck, as is. Yes. Okay, now there's a little verse at the beginning of this one. What if I forgave myself? What if I was sorry? What if yes was the right answer instead of no? What if what made me do all these things was also what had got me here? Wow. And that's Cheryl Strayed from Wild. You may want something to be dramatically different. If only, maybe if I just. Your ego rides in like the cavalry to help make sense of an unexpected and unwanted dynamic. This can't be. But it is, and so the ego tries to absorb the shock. When you receive the as is in a reading, it's activating a truthful acceptance and acknowledgement of a situation. I accept that it is the way it is. It requires a removal of your rose-tinted glasses, oh, that's a big one, and a willingness to surrender to something that, at least for a time, is manifestly out of your control. These following 3 little words, a stark and simple mantra, help ground you in reality and provide the closure necessary for you to move on to a new normal. There it is. There it is. There it is. Wow. Okay. And then innocent. This is a longer entry. I might not read it all. When describing a loved one or energy, innocent represents a child, baby, or soul who may have had their own divine reasons for not incarnating and pursuing their earthly purpose at this time. The beloved dead of innocent brings the pure and healing vibration of love, gratitude, and forgiveness, offering sprigs of pussy willow, a symbol of eternal life. Innocent is also the card that validates the presence of a beloved animal or pet. So how interesting now, under conflict, I'm going to go back to this one and see the beloved dead offer a word to the battle-weary. So this one doesn't really, it says a word to the battle-weary, but it doesn't say this is what kind of person it describes from your ancestry. But, obviously it would describe a person who was like that, full of conflict themselves. And this is saying that it can denote a child, a baby, a soul that chose not to incarnate, but also a beloved animal or pet. Wow. In other contexts, innocent indicates a beginning, something so shiny and new that it's still covered in shrink wrap. It's going to require loving attention and presumably a readiness to deal with the occasional mess. How does it all turn out? Time will tell, but that should never stop you from enjoying or learning from the process instead of losing all of the inherent joy of the journey. So the innocent is the oracle of the child. If this card describes an adult, there may be similar traits, both good and trying. At best, this adult retains the child's gift of wonder and possibility. So this one really is talking about who, describing an actual ancestor. The last paragraph says, the beloved dead of innocent asks, are you in some way trying to make up for a lost childhood? Is there a pattern limiting progress? Is there a pattern limiting progress, maturity, and self-sufficiency? What would it be like if only you could stop being your own disciplinarian, berating yourself with negative self-talk? This card suggests that you reconnect with the sacred potential that's still there inside the heart and soul of your inner child. Okay, so they're talking too about a childish adult, reverting to childish behavior, becoming self-sabotaging and overly critical. So they do go through this whole range of innocence to, other childish rather than childlike kind of things. At the end here we have perception. So I have to say, I got kind of more from my intuitive reading. I'm not getting like more from reading the cards. I do like the writing, but man, this deck reads immediately. Perception, no. Okay, WYSIWYG. Would you say I don't know what those letters stand for. Shit. BRB. That string of letters, which you probably know because you're hipper than me, pronounced WYSIWYG, is what you see is what you get. And they told me that, oh my God. They have the initials and they tell me what it says. Right? Well, not exactly. If perception wobbles onto the scene. In this event, you're receiving notice that something is off. Cattywampus, even tail over tea kettle. Perhaps this card is referring to an individual with a precarious relationship to the truth. You might also be committed to an understanding of a person or situation, but there's something fundamentally askew. What you're perceiving is not the truth, it's a version of the truth. Perception doesn't judge or blame anyone for having come to this conclusion. It only advises that the impression that's been formed has gone through a personal and emotional filter. It's collected the char of past experience, blended it with a soupçon of current limitation, and then finished it off with a salty disdain of future potential. I love the writing. The beloved debt of perception brings a soft, moist cloth and asks that you clean your lens. It instructs all of those airborne senses to return to their seats, buckle up, behave, and prepare for landing. It instructs all of those airborne senses to... Okay, that was a little out there. Now, but I like it. Now take a deep breath and look again. The beloved debt of perception wants to help you remove whatever is keeping you from making a choice or moving forward under the influence of a wonky misperception. So I think that, this is a whole message here, that conflict and perception, and I'm seeing it more as, everything points towards the middle. Perception can certainly be a thing that colors conflict, or that, triggers conflict. Conflict can be a thing that is a red flag that your perception is off, or it can color your perception down the line. So between conflict and perception here, we have this call to innocence and this call to see things at face value, listen to the exact words that are being said. You can, an example of when things are off is if you, trying to come up with a concrete example, but you say something to somebody and their response is to something entirely different. And it's like, what I said was blah, 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 or like if, I'm coming up blank for examples here. But like when you just make a neutral comment to someone and they interpret it as a critique of themselves or something like that, where you can tell it's going through somebody's filter. So again, that's talking about unfiltering how we view things so that we can take things as they are and maintain our innocence. We can let go of that jaded, cynical part of ourselves and come back to peace in between these things. I am really looking forward to playing with this deck. What a great Samhain deck. And to reading more about, using them for connecting with particular ancestors, who's around me and letting the cards describe who that is. It's going to be an interesting journey. What do you think? Hey, patrons, what do you think since you're seeing this before everybody else? Watching me trip over my tongue. You can tell my energy is kind of low today, but I am so delighted with this deck. Hey, hit the like button if you haven't already, and let me know what you think below. I will see you on the next video or a live stream. Until then, this is Luna. Blessed be.